Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we're doing Shira's top 10 board games of all time.
This time, there's going to be some real games.
Hey.
This is going to be my number 10 game of all time, Codenames. And there's a bunch of different versions of it. There's Codenames, Codenames Duet, Codenames Pictures, and then all the different IPs.
Is it everything encompassed into this?
Everything encompassed all in one.
Even the less good ones with the great ones?
This just happens to be the best one. It's Codenames. And this is it is my favorite party game ever. We typically play in teams, and you are trying to give your teammate clues to convey the words that they have to guess. You get to see one side of the card, and they don't know what words they're guessing, and they then guess them. And if you guess the death word, then your team loses. We're awful at it.
Yeah.
However, when we play with our friends, it is the most fabulous time ever.
Now, I'm not necessarily good at it anytime I play.
Never.
With or without the friends included, but it creates this really fun mind mapping style puzzle where you're trying to communicate hidden information with clues and context without giving things directly away. But there's enough words here and there's enough overlap in how people theorize and hear what you're saying that I might be trying to avoid the card buck. But I'm thinking of a deer and you're thinking of a dollar bill, and I say something like, I don't know, summer vacation. And you go for ice cream and the money you spend at the beach.
Well, we're out then. So we have not had much success playing with each other, but when we play guys versus girls, girls win every time.
Yeah, Rena and Shira, Alex's wife, tend to dominate us.
Yeah, this is just a fun pull out late at night and then spend hours playing it, no matter how late you pulled it out. It's great for an afternoon game. It's very portable. I have such a fun time playing it every single time we bring it out.
And the games start to get quite a bit heavier from here. This is your lightest game of the list.
Probably the lightest
game.
The
smallest game of the list.
Yes.
And I think the only party game on the list.
Yes.
You ready for number 9?
I am ready for number 9.
Let's do it.
My number 9 is Root. And this is a big one because I'm including all of the expansions in it. This is starting to get into the... What are you doing?
I'm just grabbing expansion boxes.
Oh, all the expansion
boxes? Plenty of them just sitting all around.
I was so confused.
I love that I threw you off
You did.
halfway through that.
So this is starting the genre of area control, which is probably my favorite genre of games ever. And this is one that I actually didn't start playing until halfway through my gaming experience, and we only started getting it because we had a consistent group of gamers. This is the game that thrives when you have a consistent group. You have to know your faction inside and out, and how it works, and how it best plays with the other factions inside the group. But that also leads to an insane level of variability and difference in every single game experience. There's no two games of Root that feel alike.
Yeah,
ever.
It's a highly asymmetric game with a lot of really cool mechanics around every single faction. I mean, you can run a programming operation, an area control thing, a thing where you're not even worried about what everyone else is doing. You're just really trying to adventure forth and do your own thing. You also should probably have your phone in the center of this because you've transitioned from playing
Root in person to Root online, and there's a fantastic app that has most of the expansions in it up until this last one, and it's a lot of fun to play with my group of gamers when we're all in different locations. We can just have it online, and it manages the rules and the setup for us in such an easy way. Another thing that I love about Root is the artwork and the theme. It's cute little forest creatures, all trying to take control back from each other. I mean, and my favorite factions right now are the Lizard Folk and the Vagabond, honestly.
Ooh.
Those are my two favorites right now, with probably possibility of the 2 new ones adding into the mix.
Okay.
Yeah. I really like this game, and having the deluxeified components just make it so much more fun to play. It's a lot, though. To dive into this,
it's fantastic.
A lot.
You need a dedicated group, but if you have one and they like it, there's probably nearly no game better.
Yeah.
Except for apparently 8 others, which we should probably go ahead and head to.
Age of Steam is going to be number 8. And I am including every single map out there and every single map to come.
Not every single map. We've played a
some
few
are
that
better
are
than
arguably
others,
not great.
but I am including them all in this game.
Yeah?
This is starting to get into the train genre. This is specifically a cube rail game. It is not an 18XX. I haven't played 18XX enough to have put it on my top 10.
Sure.
But they are slowly inching up there. I am enjoying the programming and the managing of the companies and all those mechanics involved in the 18XX. But this is Age of Steam. And this is where you are trying to build your tracks and deliver the cubes to the correct station while taking out loans and trying to make the most money at the end of the game. When you earn your first dollar, you get a round of applause.
Yeah.
It is hard to do, and depending on the map, there are slight twists and turns, no pun intended, with how you play the game.
It's tight, it's brutal, it's a very mean game, and all of the maps add to so much variability that never play style is, or never experience is quite the same. I mean, we played the bankruptcy map, where you're trying your best just not to fall apart.
And we played the recycling map, Plant 1, where you were turning everything into the purple cubes. There were no purple stations out on the board. Like, it totally makes you change your way of approaching each game. And variability is one of the most important things for me in games. The fact that every time you play, it feels slightly different, or you can try different strategies, and this gives it to you.
If you love bidding, if you love economy, if you love tight resource management, that's exactly what Age of Steam is. And it can be a clean, be nice, build rails, do your best,
but it's
or
never that with our friends.
Move around the edge of an island, build the most inefficient track possible to screw over everyone.
I also love the player interaction in this game. The table talk of, you just cut me off. You cannot take that cube. That is my cube. I will be delivering it. I'll give you $1 if you let me deliver it. The negotiation, the table talk is just, it's so much fun.
So this is number 8.
This is number 8.
What's number 7?
Number 7 is going to be Cyclades by Matago Games. And this is another one in the area control genre. In this game, you are trying to take control over the cornucopias on the board to generate your resources to then be able to build these buildings and to succeed at the win condition of having the buildings. The gods are variable. Every single round, you are going to be taking turns bidding on the gods to do those actions, and you can only bid to the amount of money you have, and then other players can kick you off. It's got such a cool bidding mechanic involved. I love this game. It's so much fun, and we don't play it enough. There's an insane amount of expansions, which some of them we have over here. But yeah, the theme of dudes on a map trying to both take a war around on both the sea. You have boats and you have people and you're fighting each other to take control. And then it's glorious. There's also then monsters and cool things that so much variability with the card play and what creatures come out. You haven't played this one enough, which is why you're surprisingly silent
I
over
have
here.
played this one, I think, once, but I don't remember it being a big ocean thing, so I think I might have played one that was similar or adjacent to this one.
The map might have looked different, because depending on the player count, the maps are all variable. It could be a wider circle, but it's always an ocean.
I'm not sure that I've played this one before.
Really?
I have played a game with a bidding mechanic.
You don't remember placing your people down and getting kicked off, and it gets higher and higher and higher to use these actions, and then eventually just down to Apollo.
I abstractly remember the bidding mechanic and thinking that was one of the coolest parts of the game.
Yes, because you don't like area control games unless they have a secondary mechanic.
Unique side mechanics.
Right, and so this side mechanic of the bidding, I remember you really enjoying it. I'm actually asking to play this week. It is so much fun.
As we were setting up, she was literally texting Alex being like, hey, it's been a little bit too long.
I haven't played this in a while, but it is one of my favorite dudes on a map kind of game.
I'm noticing a theme. I'm noticing a programming, area control, bidding type of
resource
puzzle
management?
going on.
No, not me, not I.
Not once?
No,
never?
Not once. Just look at all these things. Look at all these abilities that you can do. These are the gods that are usually in play, then there's so many expansions, and then all of these different cards and creatures do different things, and some of them are break the game powerful. Break the game.
Interesting. Well, neat number 7. Take a look at number 6.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go.
And number 6 is Castles of Burgundy by Stefan Feld. And we actually just recently did coverage for the Game Found All Deluxe exclusive version that's coming out.
About as fancy as you can get. Coming from Awakened Realms, collaborating with them, this is going to be an entirely different look soon.
Yes, but for now, this is the 10th anniversary edition, and this is such a fun engine building, resource management, dice placement game where you are placing these tiles down onto your map and having to satisfy different various scoring objectives, you were trying to basically build out the best map in order to score the most points at the end of the game and win. It is a Euro in all sense and stuff, and the variability comes from the different tiles that you take from the marketplace and how you build out your map, or which map you choose every single time.
For me, one of the coolest things about this game not only has to do with how the dice allocate the actions that you can take, but also the way that you're able to control and mitigate them with some of the different resources that you have, like your little workers. And on top of that, I fell in love with Castles of Burgundy when I discovered the sheer number of different maps you can play on.
You also like having to go hard sheep.
I do like being able to be straight committed sheep, but outside of that, this also plays at a ton of different player counts extremely well.
And one of my favorite ones is actually 2-player, which is perfect because it's hard to find some of these Euro games that actually play really well at 2 players, and this is one of them. It's also easy enough, accessible to get to the table, decent setup. It's great. And I'm really excited for the all-new Deluxeified one to come
I am looking
out.
forward. Now that I know there's miniatures and artwork and crazy things on the way, I still love this one just as much. It's just like the second child after you've just had a third.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as special.
What's your favorite part about this one?
Personally, it's going to come down to the asymmetric boards.
The maps?
I love the variability in it, but it's a classic Euro, like you said. It's point scoring, it's tile laying, it's a lot of good stuff.
There's always new ones of these yellow tiles that come out that I have to learn every single game, and it changes the way I play that game. I love it.
Number 5?
Number 5.
Number 5 is sharp.
Number 5 is Inish.
What is this?
Did you break it?
No, but it hurt.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt if you bang on it.
I like this game a lot.
Yes.
I did not at first.
This is another area control game by Matago, and this one, the core mechanic is actually sending around a deck of cards and drafting them. And you can very much hate draft. You are putting dudes on a map. Each different area has special powers and abilities, and then you're going to be playing your cards. And it's almost like a game of chicken, because you want to have your cards left in your hand, so you might say pass, but if everyone ends up passing in the round, then you don't get to play those cards that have really cool powers and abilities. There's ones that I always want to get, like Geist, like undoing someone's move, and oh my gosh, it's fabulous, this game. You have 3 different ways you can win, and as soon as you have one of them accomplished, you have to take a pretender token to basically say, hey, I'm going to be winning next round if none of you guys stop me. And then for the rest of the round, every single player tries their best to stop you. It's lovely. What?
This is a game that didn't work for me the first time I played it, and it was largely because you need time to learn the drafting and the cards and how cool some of them can be. So this is one that you have to give multiple plays, multiple tries at multiple player counts to really find that sweet spot for you and your gaming group. The second time I played this, understanding and being a little bit more patient with the cards and trying to maximize like what I'm getting from the draft, it did close itself in. I still don't love the area control portion of it.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
But some of the cards are a lot of fun to have.
Deciding what areas you want to be in, moving in, inciting wars and battles, jumping into places to protect yourself, and then using like the abilities of the actual area that you have control over. It's lovely. It's
an interesting one because it is not a game that requires you to always be at war. Honestly, you can win just by existing, just by being the biggest chieftain, and that doesn't mean you have to fight. It does mean, however, other people might start fighting you.
Yeah, and then you can get your butt kicked.
Yeah.
Your butt whooped very much.
Inish. This is, well, I mean, obviously one of your favorites.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what's coming next.
Yeah.
Number 5?
This was number 5.
Let's take a look at number 4. Number 4 is Kemet.
Blood and Sand, specifically because this one I am going to be specific. There are 2 versions, and I like the newer one with the extra set of tiles and colors, and oh my gosh.
Another massive area control game if you haven't noticed a theme happening here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. In this one, you are trying to construct these pyramids, which will allow you to buy different level tiles in that color. And then you are fighting against your fellow clans to have control over these pyramids. You have to spend your resources, and you get cool monsters and powers and abilities, and the battling is actually really cool. Yeah. You have to play down 2 cards, one that you're using and one that you're not using, and then you don't know which ones the other player has used or not. It's insane. Ugh.
This is one that has so much focus on area control a ton of focus on cool powers and abilities, and then everything is closer than you would assume it would be. So if you like area control that emphasizes a lot of war, a lot of trading positions, and a lot of sort of take that style mechanics, like you're moving in and using some giant creature or some giant beast or some miniature that you've harnessed the powers of to just dominate the battlefield, that's what Kemet Blood and Sand is all about.
I love the creatures are probably my favorite part of this game because each one gets to move usually with your group of soldiers, and it gives your group of soldiers different powers that it has. I really love the creatures. And then you have the Ankh symbols that are for like money. It's glorious.
It's interesting because this is one that I actually am not a giant fan of.
Yeah.
I'm open to playing it again.
Not that it's really just resource tableau building
very
up,
area control.
and then area control and fighting on the map.
Which
There's
is something
not
you
so
love.
many other mechanics involved.
Yeah.
But the upgrading tree and which one you're going to specialize
Sure.
in. There's 5 different colors that you can choose, and you don't use all the colors every game, and each color offers a different one. Like red is a lot of fighting, blue is a lot of defense, white's a lot of income, green's a lot of the monsters, and then black, I believe, is some of it all. We're mixing up black and white, but it's crazy.
I understand why you and Alex like this one so much. I need to play it more.
The powers
That's
and
my
abilities
takeaway.
is everything.
I mean, that's the answer to like most
To
things
life,
for them.
powers, and abilities?
You gonna go grab number 3?
Sure.
All right. Got it? Oh, man. Number 3. Freaking Zombiecide.
Number 3 is going to be Zombiecide by Cool Mini or Not. And this is the only dungeon crawler on this list. But is it a dungeon crawler? I mean, Zombiecide has so many different versions. Black Plague is going to be the one I put on my top 10.
Until Marvel shows up.
I don't think Marvel's going to beat it.
It's gonna crush it for me.
Black Plague has so many different abominations,
Sure.
so many different necromancers. The types of zombies are drastically different from each other, and I like the method of getting weapons and upgrading your character and your powers and abilities that you can choose from the plethora of characters in Black Plague.
Zombicide is a cooperative game where you're, like you said, dungeon crawling. You're opening up rooms, spawning zombies, and going after some type of objective or mission. It scales in difficulty depending on how many necromancers and abominations you mix in, and is probably best with as many of the random modules and expansions as you can find.
I love the wolves, I love the archers. It's a blast. Every scenario feels different, and we like to scale up the difficulty to basically be as tight and hard as possible, to the point that you don't think you're going to make it out alive unless you draw a Molotov cocktail to destroy a room of zombies, and even then you might not make it out alive. It's
one of the games that gives me hope that Shira may in fact enjoy RPGs, because these type of games, these Ameri-style dungeon crawlers, are adjacent to that, right? It's storytelling, it's an adventure, and it's the experience on the board. It's the experience on the board that solidifies what you're doing. You have these stand-up moments where everything seems like it's going against you, and you pull off this escalating dice move that just happens to wipe out an abomination and secure the day, or the opposite of that, these crushing moments where everything falls apart. And those are the things you walk away from the table remembering.
I don't know. I've played so many different types. I've played Invader, I've played Undead or Alive, I've played Marvel Zombies, I've played 2nd edition through DC.
Yeah.
And I always come back to Black Plague. It's the first one I've ever played. It's the one that we have made enough house rules and adjustments so that it is hard enough for us to feel like we're facing difficulties. And it's the one that has, I don't know, I like the theme. I like the traditional dungeon crawling with the zombies that are involved.
Yeah.
It's one of a kind.
Number 3, though.
It's number 3. There's still 2 more to beat it.
Let's pull out number 2. I knew it!
You knew it. Did you think Kingdom Death was not going to be on here?
Oh my gosh.
Were you getting worried?
I was a little bit concerned.
As we were getting to number 2 and 1?
I know what your number 1 is.
Yeah. So that left only one spot left.
It is insane in my mind that this has made it all the way up to number 2. I'm not even going to say anything during this segment. Shira, I'll leave you for the audience.
This has made its way up to number 2, mostly because of the way Jesse has guided me through our campaign and has taught me the rules, or lack of rules, creepo, and has really just helped me grasp the story and the world that we're playing through. I love the big boss battling mechanics. I like the dice rolling. I like how every single boss we fight feels dramatically different. I like that we don't know if we're making it out alive with some of these scenarios, but it is the experience of playing with this dum-dum sitting next to me that really took this from not being even in my top 10 at all to being number 2. I have been asking him to play basically every single week for the past few months, and he always pushes it off. It's almost like this isn't in his top 10.
Oh, get out of here. This is number 0 for me. This is one of the biggest, best, this is an expansive settlement building boss builder. Kingdom Death is one of the greatest of all time by far, and I am thrilled that you're actually at the point where you enjoy it.
Every character
has such a unique personality to them as you fight them and just take them down. Yeah. The gear grids are awesome. You start leveling up and chaining.
I love all of my gear that I've leveled up and bought and have developed, and I'm needing the new resources to get even stronger gear because the bosses, the people we're fighting against, they're getting stronger no matter what, and we got to keep up with them. I like how I don't even know if my characters are going to survive. I mean, my starting characters, I think we are left with each one of our starting characters. It's such a experience playing. And it's also such a good game with mechanics.
Yeah.
The settlement phase is just as good as the hunt phase.
I'm so curious now. Let's check out your number 1.
Last but not least is going to be Terraforming Mars. And everyone knows that this is my number 1 game of all time. There's no questioning it. But it's rightfully here. Every time I went over that list, the one spot that never changed was Terraforming Mars.
Really? Not even a question about it?
Not even a question.
Because you have shifted some things. Like, I know a few days before this, 10 got knocked out and 8 got put in.
Yeah, it was a little shifting at the very end, but this has always been my number 1. This is the very first game I bought, upgraded, and deluxeified. I sleeved, I worked. I love this game. It's got my favorite mechanic ever, drafting. If you include it, but you should always include
drafting in the Prelude expansion. Yes. It quickens up the time and makes the card play.
You start with a corporation and you then have an engine that you're building towards. The engine building, the resource management, even the slight area control here out on the board. It encompasses it all. Every game turns out different. Every game I try a new strategy.
Yeah.
And I love this game. Oh, ask me any day of the week if I want to play Terraforming Mars, and if I have the time, I will say yes.
I liked this game on TTS when I played it for the first time. Now, I wrote this game
off
for a long time.
For a long... Yeah, you did.
Not after I played it. Before I ever played it, I wrote this game off because of the artwork, the graphic design, the fact that it, honestly, if you haven't taken the time to deluxeify it, it's kind of a shite product. However,
you don't like the artwork at all with this. You think it's
grown on me. The clip art has grown on me, and the flavor text has solidified it. But yes, this game, played within the right conditions, Prelude and drafting, is probably one of the best tableau building, best engine building games I've ever experienced.
Do you know I considered not dating you because you weren't giving Terraforming Mars a fair chance?
Oh no!
Yeah.
That's how much you like this game?
This is my baby. Kingdom Death might be your baby, and it made it up to number 2.
She was like, hey, Quackalope.
Terraforming Mars is my baby.
I don't care what else Quackalope does in the board game world, but if he doesn't like Terraforming Mars, he's out.
It means you haven't played any real games.
Funny.
Oh, it's...
Yeah, says the girl who now had Kingdom Death at number 2. I taught you some stuff.
You taught me some stuff. You taught me a lot of stuff about story and theme.
Yeah.
This is mechanics.
It's not that.
This is heavy mechanics, engine building, tableau building, area control, drafting.
And mechanics are still beating story for you.
Mechanics are still beating story, hands down. Story
Despite
comes close.
How hard I've tried.
Story comes close. You can even narrate your story, how you started this corporation and then you're doing all you do.
I tell my hosts, I always play straight theme. I'm driving asteroids into the ground and making the best forest possible. It doesn't mean I always win.
No.
But I always do play straight theme.
I like it. And with the new Ares Expedition, all of those expansions, Ares Expeditions is actually growing on me as well. So now I have the baby version and the full-blown version.
Cool. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this top 10 list. I know we took a little bit of a different spin with it.
Tell me how many of them I'm wrong about down below.
It's fair.
What I'm missing.
Here's the thing. Shira desperately wanted to do a top 20.
Yeah.
And we wanted to hear from you all first. If you want to see her top 20... let us know.
I have the next 10 listed.
There's another set of 10 that she had to not include.
It was hard.
So, next year, 6 months, whenever you want, we might take a look at a bigger collection.
Yeah. And then we also have to talk about the ones that might be edging up as soon as I give them more place.
Yeah.
There's a lot that can knock some stuff out.
Interesting. So, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Whatever the case.
Whatever you do, remember to do the important thing. Get out and play Terraforming Mars. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye.